a couple of nights, just as I was getting lowered, and I was like, and you're only hanging by one hand. So I'm just hanging in the air. Hi, I'm Bradley Chatfield, and this is my career timeline. People always stated to me that, you probably won't make it because of your height. So getting into the Australian Ballet School was a really significant moment in my life where I thought, okay, well, obviously I have some talent, so I could probably make a career out of this. In 1990, I joined the Hong Kong Ballet. It was my first professional full-length contract. I had graduated from the school early to be able to take this contract. I flew over on a Sunday, I think it was, and started work on the Monday and went into a performance on the Tuesday. So in 1991, I moved back from Hong Kong and was offered a contract with the Sydney Dance Company. That was the beginning of my long career with Sydney Dance Company, which I eventually left in 2009. Graham Murphy was the artistic director at that time with his associate Janet Vernon. The thing about working at Sydney Dance Company at that time was the works were created on you. Free Radicals, Salome, Berlin, Faunacon. Well, there's so many. Another one wasn't created on me, but I did get to perform it, was Some Rooms, a role originally created on Paul Mercurio. And we toured that when I first joined the company to France and South America, and I absolutely loved the work. Being a part of Sydney Dance Company, we got to tour the world quite a lot. One of the memorable moments of touring was when we opened at the Joyce Theatre in 1997 with a tour of Free Radicals. It was a really exciting time because not a lot of us had even been to New York or performed in New York before, and the Joyce Theatre is the mecca of contemporary dance in New York and in America. In 2003, Janet and Graham took a sabbatical of Sydney Dance Company, and Stephen Petronio was invited to come over and create a work. It was my last work before I left the company to go and do Cats, and it was a really special work for me because that was a work that got a lot of accolades for. I was nominated for a Helpman Award, also nominated for an Australian Dance Award, a Green Room Award and a Mo Award, which I won those three. Yep. 2003, I needed to know I could do something else after 12 years with Sydney Dance Company, so I left for a year and went and did Andrew Lloyd Webbers' musical Cats. I think it's quite fun being in the big top because it's quite creative, going under all the rabbit warrens or cat warrens or whatever you want to call them to underneath the stage. The only thing that was when Mistopheles enters for his solo, he comes flying through from the roof. So he gets lowered in, he's only got the hand grip, and then a couple of nights, just as I was getting lowered, and I was like, and you're only hanging by one hand. So I'm just hanging in the air. My understudy, Adrian Ricks, had to go on for the first half of the solo, and I'm just hanging there. And then I managed to pull myself up, climb down the ladder, and run onto the stage, standing at the back, and then nod to Adrian, I'll take it over from here. November last year, 10 ex-dancers from Sydney Dance Company's earlier years rejoined Sydney Dance Company for Gideon Oberzanik's Us 50 with Sydney Dance Company. It was a quite exciting time to return to the stage after 10 years of retirement. Retirement from the stage, not retirement from the industry. So it was a pretty amazing time. Being an educator now is really important for people that have been working in the industry to provide that knowledge and skill to those hoping to enter and secure jobs. I'm quite happy passing that on to the next generation, and hopefully they can learn something from us oldies that have had the experience and the long careers. I hope we don't get too cranky, but I'm sure they're learning a lot. I'm Bradley Chatfield, and that was my career timeline. Done!
Finished!
30 years done.
Awesome. We're done. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Oh, one hit wonder. Now, my leg's gone to sleep now because I've been sitting on that chair.